Good afternoon. Thanks for coming today. My name is Jim Kajchuk. I'm the Executive Director for the Illinois Sheriff's Association. Joining me today are several individuals who represent a new coalition that has come together to speak with one voice, a strong voice, as the General Assembly debates issues and policies that directly affect law enforcement and the safety of Illinois communities. This group, the Coalition for Public Safety, is broad and diverse. We have representatives from Chicago, Central Illinois, and Southern Illinois. We have labor represented, and we have leadership too. The list of the members in this coalition are listed in the press release that you should all have, but I want to recognize all these groups briefly. Illinois Sheriff's Association, Illinois Fraternal Order of Police, Illinois Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council, Chicago Lodge 7 Fraternal Order of Police, Illinois Police Benevolent and Protective Association, and the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police. For far too long, we have not spoken in a unified way. Even though criminal justice and law enforcement issues are only dominating Springfield more and more, that ends today. We're here to say that we cannot and unequivocally do not support efforts being discussed to eliminate cash bail. This is not the way to make the criminal justice system more equitable. It is not the way to make our communities safer. Criminal justice reform is not new, and many changes have been made over the last several years. Our organizations have been a part of many of these conversations, but we can't continue to go down a path that we believe puts our communities at risk. We hope this new coalition, lawmakers will heed our opinions, advice, and recommendations. First responders and law enforcement have been and are a part of the solution. I will now turn it over to others to share their thoughts about this group and why we are opposed to ending cash bail. Sheriff.
The idea of eliminating cash bail has not been carefully thought out. All of these proposals lack necessary safeguards and common sense. Worse, it fails to correct the flaws and problems we have seen from past efforts in Illinois. And in Illinois is about to make the same mistakes as New York and live with these horrible consequences. Just a little bit here. Just days after New York ended cash bail, there was a rash of individuals who were arrested. While they were let out awaiting trial, they committed significant crimes. Again, we're not talking about small crimes. We're talking about murder. Since then, crime numbers are up significantly in New York, over 17%. Cash bond is collateral taken by the courts to ensure that you will cooperate with the criminal justice process. Starting in 2017, Illinois changed its approach to cash bond through legislation. Criminals charged with a Category A offense, for example, violent crimes, would not have been impacted by the statutory change. However, Category B offenses, for example, property crimes, would have seen a reduction in the bond set by a judge. Category B offenders would have a $30 credit applied to their bond for every day they were detained. So if your bond was set at $300, 10 days later, you would be released by statute, or a judge would release you if not sooner. In McDonough County, my county, we have seen something happen since this legislation has passed. Our warrants for persons who have failed to appear in court have doubled. I'm going to give you just some brief numbers. In 2014, we saw 1,100 warrants for FTA warrants, failure to appear. In 2015, 743. In 2016, 959. Then comes this legislation where we migrate to the Category A, Category B offenses. In 2017, we had 2,091 warrants for failure to appear. In 2018, we had 2,483, and in 2019, 2,375. A significant change, the numbers tell the tale. Since the reform, if you're a criminal, you are twice as likely to have a warrant and half as likely to cooperate with the criminal justice system. This is not acceptable. The sheriffs I represent today swore an oath to protect our fellow citizens. At times we must risk our lives in order to fulfill this oath. We live and work with this system every day and have seen what's working and what isn't working. We need Springfield to listen to our voices and build a system that does work. Unfortunately, most of what is being discussed currently is the wrong way to do it.
We come today to join with our partners in law enforcement. We have serious concerns about the reformation of the cash bail system. Don't feel that this is necessarily the right way to protect the citizens of our state. We're concerned for victims of crime and for future victims that are the citizens of this state. some of the things that could happen by crimes that are committed. Every day there are crimes across the state that happen, from the most minuscule to the most serious. With this cash bail being eliminated, there's more opportunity for more criminals to be on the street, and that's something that we just don't feel would be a good thing for the citizens of the state.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Smoot. I'm the Director and Chief Counsel for the Police Benevolent Protective Association of Illinois. I stand with the coalition today on behalf of the Police Benevolent Protective Association, again to reiterate our objection to current proposals of eliminating cash bond for Illinois. There's a reason that we have doctors involved in regulating the way medicine is practiced. There's a reason that we have pilots involved in the way air traffic control is handled and the way that pilot training is controlled. And that's because they're the practitioners. And unfortunately, part of the reason that this coalition has to exist, and I'm very happy that it does, is in Illinois we're seeing the repeat of a situation where the actual practitioners are not consulted and the General Assembly is making decisions without good information. And so one of the key reasons that this coalition is here today is frankly because to the extent that when these reforms, and by the way, nobody's saying our criminal justice system is perfect. There have been a lot of reforms, and a lot of the people standing up here with me have been involved and have been at the forefront of bringing those reforms into place and implementing those reforms. What we are saying, though, is we have not been included in the discussions where there have been meetings on things, most recently this cash bail situation. The groups representing rank and file officers have not been involved in those discussions at all. And to the extent that leadership, when I say leadership, I mean chiefs and sheriffs and other leaders in the law enforcement community have been involved, it's almost like an afterthought. It's a check the box. We need to be involved at the start as a partner with a seat at the table and in collaboration with all of the affected parties if reforms are going to be put into place, if they're going to work. Because if we're not, they're not going to work. And we've seen that happen across the country. We're seeing it happen now. New York is considering making reforms to their reforms. As the sheriff mentioned earlier, they're realizing they may have made some mistakes. Mistakes can be avoided, but not if you don't have all the right voices at the table. And so I thank you for your attention today, and I'll turn it back over.
My name is Edwin Jeske, and I'm the Executive Director of the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police. Last name is W-O-J-C-I-C-K-I. It's not in your program. I'm here with Chief Winslow from Springfield to speak on behalf of the Illinois Chiefs. I've been in touch with my counterpart in New York about what's going on there after their cash bond reform went into effect January 1st. It's been a nightmare for innocent people. It's been a nightmare for crime victims, and we're really here in support of people who are innocently, the innocent people who are treated very badly by people who are mistakenly let out on cash bond. This, as Sean said and as others have said, this really needs to be looked at. It needs to be thought about more carefully, and just the slogan, "End cash bail," isn't enough to cut it. That's not going to cut it. We need a lot more conversation about it. Thank you.
Real quickly, on behalf of Kevin Graham, Chicago Lodge 7 FOP President, the criminal justice reform movement here in the state of Illinois is putting the lives and security of our citizens at further risk. Bail reform is the latest issue that studies have shown to be of particular harm not only to the citizens but to the common senses. Although there are results coming in from bail reform experiments from around the country that show the negative impact on victims, we need look no further than Cook County. where a study was conducted over 15 months and was reported to have no increased criminal impact after a bail reduction program was tested. Fortunately, those results were immediately challenged in a College of Law report that in fact showed that even though there was only an increase of 9% of additional arrestees released under the program, the number of pretrial releasees who committed violent crimes after they were released rose by 49%. During that period, 21 defendants who were released under the experiment were later rearrested and charged with murder. There is a great emphasis these days to protect the civil rights of the alleged offenders, and little emphasis on protecting the civil rights of the rest of society. And that is where we in law enforcement need to take these measures to inform the public that their safety and security is being sacrificed as these experiments continue to be discussed and conducted. We'll be happy to try to take some questions.
Nobody gets to bail out now? Got to keep everybody in?
No, we're saying you can still have cash bail.
Well, so people who, if you eliminate cash bail, the people who can't afford it, are they more likely to commit crimes after they leave prison, jail, than people who can afford it?
I think what we're seeing is there are about 4 states that have tried some sort of a program like this where they've made modifications, either eliminated cash bail entirely or significantly reformed the system. We've got California, Alaska, New Jersey, and New York. New York, as we've seen since the first of the year, they eliminated it. And that has not worked very well at all. I think just the polar opposite. So we've got limited information. A lot of the information that is based on New York, unfortunately, is more anecdotal, but certainly you've seen a rise or a spike in crime that regardless of party, people are saying across the board it's been a problem.
Well, it just seems like the people who are in favor of eliminating it, are talking about economic unfairness. If I've got, the right amount of money or, bail bondsman available to me, I can walk out, and the guy who's next to me in the cell, who doesn't have that availability, can't. It's only because I've got I've got enough of Mr. Green in my pocket. And what they're saying is it's just not fair.
Well, and to be fair, a lot of crimes today that people get charged with get taken to jail. You may get very well recogged exactly right at that point in time as you're getting to the jail. The second thing is that you may go see the judge. The judge at that point in time may go ahead and set zero bail, even though there was a fine or a bail available at that moment, but maybe it was too high. So my point is that there is an assessment tool that currently exists today. So judges have that ability and discretion to be able to do an evaluation. When they meet with those folks that are taken into court, they can find out what their means is at that moment in time.
I mean, everybody here can say the worst thing is when I get pinched, I walk out before he's done finishing his paperwork on it.
That's very
That
true.
happens a lot.
Anybody that's worn a uniform up here can certainly experience that.
Chief Winslow, could you tell us what the situation in Springfield currently is, and if this were enacted, how it would impact Springfield?
Well, I think we have the same concerns that have already been expressed today, and that's that we don't know. There's not enough information out there. Everything's anecdotal right now. But with that said, there is a system in place right now, as Jim just talked about. Right now, as you come in front of a judge, if you're charged with a felony, the judge can take into consideration by doing an evaluation of what that bond should be and whether that bond should be reduced, okay? Additionally, we talked about the reform that went in place in 2017 that basically gives you credit for time served, whether that's $30 a day or whatever for misdemeanors. Our experience here in Sangamon County is that on a lot of misdemeanors, nonviolent misdemeanors, they're either OR'd before we leave or they're given a notice to appear in court. So there are mechanisms already in place to help deal with this issue. We just think that going to the far extreme of abolishing bail bond or cash bail is the wrong way to go right now.
The governor's administration has said that they want this to be a big, one of their top priorities, and they've talked about it since last year that they were planning to do this. At any point, was this brought up? Were you brought into a discussion about this?
When it was being discussed last year, no. Since they made the announcement in the state of the state, yes. We were contacted. I was specifically contacted by the governor's office and invited to the first meeting that they had, where they now have established 5 different working groups. But not everybody you see behind me has been invited to those meetings yet.
And we have not. Those working groups, did it consist of members from law enforcement?
The dynamics of the working groups, the only one that I'm aware of that has been held thus far, other than the initial working group, law enforcement was a minor part of that working group. We were significantly outnumbered. Anyone else? Okay, if not, thank you for your time.
Thanks, folks.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.